You stand at the shoreline as night settles around you, slow and patient, like a blanket placed with care. The air feels cool but kind, and the ground beneath your feet holds steady, reminding you that you are supported. Somewhere behind you, the familiar world rests, quiet and complete for now. Ahead of you, the ocean stretches outward, dark and reflective, carrying fragments of starlight on its surface. You breathe in, then out. The sound of the water answers you, steady and unhurried. You are not here to rush. You are here to notice. The stars above you do not feel distant tonight. They scatter across the water like spilled lantern light, trembling gently with each small wave. The horizon blurs, and for a moment it becomes difficult to tell where the sea ends and the sky begins. This soft confusion feels comforting. It tells you that boundaries are not always sharp, and that wondering is allowed. You take another slow breath. Your shoulders loosen. Your thoughts begin to slow, too, drifting like small boats released from their ropes. At this quiet edge of the world, a simple idea arrives. It does not crash. It does not demand attention. It simply steps beside you and looks out with you. The idea is this: if water can gather here, under this sky, maybe it can gather elsewhere as well. You let the thought float. You do not chase it. You do not need answers yet. Science often sounds busy, but tonight it speaks softly. It does not bring charts or sharp lines. Instead, it gestures gently toward the stars and invites you to imagine them as distant shores. Around many of those stars, worlds move in slow, graceful paths. These worlds are called exoplanets, but the word does not need to feel heavy. You can think of them as places, quiet and patient, waiting under unfamiliar skies. You feel no pressure to understand everything. Understanding can come later. For now, you simply allow the idea that planets exist beyond your own, circling their stars the way you circle your thoughts before sleep. The ocean before you breathes in and out. You match its rhythm without trying. In. Out. Somewhere far beyond the shoreline, planets do the same, held gently by gravity, warmed or cooled by their suns. Some may be dry and still. Some may be restless. And some, perhaps, may hold oceans of their own. The thought makes you smile, just slightly. It feels a little like discovering that your quiet street has neighbors you have never met. The universe, it seems, may be less lonely than it once appeared. You imagine standing on another shoreline now. Not physically, but softly, in the way imagination drifts when it is not being watched too closely. The sky above that distant sea glows with a different color of light. The waves move to a rhythm you do not yet recognize. Still, water behaves like water. It gathers. It flows. It rests. This is not fantasy. This is curiosity stretching its legs. Science tells you that planets form from swirling clouds, much like eddies in the sea. Over time, they settle into shapes and paths, cooling, warming, changing slowly. On some of them, conditions allow water to remain, not rushing away, not freezing completely, simply staying. Waiting. The idea feels calm, not dramatic. Life does not announce itself with trumpets. It tends to arrive quietly, if it arrives at all. You bend slightly and let your fingers brush the cool water at your feet. The sensation anchors you. You are here. You are safe. You are allowed to wander without going anywhere. The shoreline becomes a bridge between what you know and what you do not yet know. Behind you is familiarity. Ahead of you is possibility. Neither is threatening. Both belong. A small wave reaches forward, touches your toes, then pulls back again, as if thinking better of it. You almost laugh. Even the ocean hesitates sometimes. It is a gentle reminder that exploration does not have to be bold to be real. Your breathing deepens, and with it, your sense of scale shifts. You feel both very small and very included. The stars no longer press down with their size. Instead, they seem to open outward, making room for your thoughts to wander without falling. Somewhere out there, beyond the reflected light and the soft darkness, may be planets with clouds, atmospheres, and seas shaped by forces both familiar and strange. You do not need proof tonight. You only need the permission to imagine that water, so common and so miraculous, may not be unique to the shore. The night hums faintly, like a distant engine or a sleeping city. It blends with the sound of the waves until the two are indistinguishable. You realize that listening, truly listening, does not require effort. It only requires stillness. Science, at its best, is a form of listening. You take one more slow breath, feeling it travel all the way down and settle. The question returns, gentle and uninsistent. What if water is already waiting out there, moving under alien moons, reflecting unfamiliar stars? The ocean before you does not answer. It does not need to. It simply continues its rhythm, wave after wave, inviting you to stay a little longer at the edge. And as you remain there, calm and open, you sense that this is only the beginning. Soon, you will learn how humans listen for water across vast distances, not with hands, but with light itself. For now, you let the tide recede, carrying you softly toward the next quiet curiosity, as the shoreline behind the stars slowly comes into focus. You remain at the shoreline, exactly where the last chapter leaves you, with your feet planted and your breathing slow. The night has not changed. The water still moves in its patient rhythm. What has changed is your attention. It softens. It widens. You are no longer only looking outward. You are learning how to listen. You inhale gently, and the air feels fuller this time, as if it carries something faint and almost musical. You exhale, long and unhurried. The ocean answers with a sound so steady it feels like reassurance. You are not meant to hurry. You are not meant to grasp. Tonight, you are meant to notice. Listening, you realize, is different from searching. Searching leans forward. Listening settles back. Science joins you again, quietly, sitting beside you rather than standing in front. It does not hand you instruments yet. It begins by explaining a feeling. When scientists look for water beyond Earth, they do not travel there. They do not dip their hands into alien seas. Instead, they listen with light, the way you listen now with breath and sound. Light moves across the universe like a tide that never stops. It leaves stars, travels patiently, and arrives carrying stories. When that light passes through a planet's atmosphere, it changes slightly, the way moonlight changes when it touches water. Some colors dim. Some bend. Some linger longer than others. You do not need to see the details. You only need to feel the idea that light remembers where it has been. You let this settle. Your shoulders drop another fraction. The shoreline metaphor deepens without effort. Just as waves shape sand without force, light shapes understanding without touch. You imagine moonlight sliding across the surface of the sea, revealing ripples and movement without disturbing anything below. This is how listening works in space. Nothing is poked. Nothing is broken. Everything is observed with care. You smile faintly, amused by how polite the universe seems when you slow down enough to notice. It turns out that planets do not mind being watched from afar. They continue their quiet routines, breathing atmospheres in and out, holding heat, releasing it, changing slowly. You take another breath. In. Out. Atmospheres begin to feel important now, not as layers or measurements, but as blankets. A planet wrapped in air behaves differently from one left bare. Air can hold warmth. It can move energy gently around a world. And sometimes it can hold traces of water, floating invisibly, like mist you only notice when light passes through it just right. You imagine fog drifting across the shoreline in front of you, thin and silver. You cannot grab it. You cannot keep it. But you can see that it exists. That is enough. This is how scientists learn about water without touching it. They listen for how light changes when it brushes past vapor, clouds, or thick skies. The process feels less like hunting and more like waiting for a tide to turn. It requires patience. It rewards calm. You appreciate that. It matches the way your body feels right now. The distant hum of the night continues, blending with the sound of the sea. Somewhere far away, a buoy might be blinking, but you do not need to look. You trust that it is there. Trust, you realize, plays a role in listening too. You are not searching for proof tonight. You are learning how clues arrive. Some planets pass in front of their stars from our point of view, like a slow wave crossing a reflection. When they do, the starlight dims just slightly. This dimming is gentle, never abrupt. And within that softness, information hides. The atmosphere, if it exists, leaves fingerprints in the light. Water leaves its own subtle trace, like salt left behind after a wave retreats. You find comfort in how indirect this all is. Nothing is forced. Nothing is rushed. Even discovery seems content to move at the pace of orbits and years. You chuckle softly at a small thought. The universe, it seems, prefers good manners. It whispers instead of shouts. The shoreline remains your anchor. Each wave arrives, touches the sand, and pulls back again, leaving patterns that only become clear over time. In the same way, signals from distant worlds repeat, pass after pass, until listening turns into understanding. Repetition becomes clarity. Calm becomes insight. You breathe again, slower now, sinking unconsciously with the water. Some worlds, you learn, may hide their oceans beneath thick skies or frozen surfaces. Water does not always like to announce itself. Sometimes it prefers privacy. This does not make it less real. It makes it patient. And patience, you are discovering, is one of the most reliable signs of something enduring. You imagine standing on a shoreline wrapped in fog so dense you cannot see the sea, yet you can hear it. The sound is enough. You know what lies beyond your vision. This is how listening for water feels across space. Absence of sight does not mean absence of presence. The tide pulls back slightly, exposing smooth stones that glisten briefly before the next wave returns. Hidden things reveal themselves only in rhythm, only in time. Your thoughts drift, unhooked from urgency. You feel no need to arrive at conclusions. Instead, you enjoy the idea that somewhere, right now, light is passing through an atmosphere that holds water, and that light is already on its way, carrying the story quietly toward listeners like you. The shoreline breathes with you. In. Out. As the chapter begins to close, you sense the ocean drawing away, preparing for another return. The act of listening has changed you. You are steadier, more receptive, ready to drift farther from Earth, toward regions where warmth balances perfectly, where tides of light and gravity meet in calm agreement. The night remains gentle as you follow that retreating wave inward, knowing the next shoreline will feel different, warmer somehow, and just as welcoming. You drift gently onward from the shoreline you know, not by moving your body, but by loosening your attention. The ocean behind you fades into memory, still present, still real, yet no longer the center of your awareness. Ahead, space opens softly, not as a void, but as a wide, calm expanse where motion happens without sound. You breathe in, feeling warmth settle in your chest. You breathe out, and the idea of distance becomes lighter. You are not leaving home. You are expanding your sense of it. The stars no longer feel scattered. They arrange themselves into quiet neighborhoods, each with its own steady glow. Around some of them, worlds drift patiently, neither rushing closer nor slipping away. Their movement feels familiar, like tides responding to a moon you trust. This is where you begin to sense what scientists gently call the habitable zone, though the name matters less than the feeling it carries. This zone feels like a temperate coast. Not too hot. Not too cold. Just enough. You imagine standing at a shoreline where the sun warms your skin without burning, where the breeze cools without chilling. The water is neither frozen nor steaming. It simply exists, comfortable enough to linger. This balance feels soothing, and your body responds before your thoughts do. Your jaw loosens. Your breath deepens. Balance, it seems, is something you recognize instinctively. In space, warmth behaves like water. It flows outward from stars, thinning as it travels, spreading gently across distance. Some worlds receive too much of it, like standing too close to a fire. Others receive too little, like waiting too long for dawn. But some worlds drift at just the right distance, where warmth can stay without fleeing or overwhelming. These worlds circle their stars the way you circle restful thoughts before sleep. Slowly. Repeatedly. Without strain. You let this idea settle, repeating softly in your mind. Not too much. Not too little. Just enough. The shoreline metaphor follows you here, reshaping itself. The sea is no longer only water. It is temperature, balance, patience. You imagine waves that never crash violently, that rise and fall with dependable grace. Even the sound of them feels quieter, as if they respect your rest. You smile faintly at the thought. Even planets, it seems, prefer calm arrangements. As you float here, you sense that balance is not fragile. It does not shatter easily. It holds, supported by motion that repeats again and again. Orbits become tides. Each pass around a star is like a wave returning to shore, familiar and expected. Over time, these repeated motions create stability, not chaos. You breathe in again, noticing how your chest rises and falls with similar reliability. In this gentle zone, water has time. It can remain liquid, moving slowly, reshaping surfaces, gathering into seas. Nothing forces it to flee into vapor or lock itself into ice. It simply stays, responding to subtle changes, adjusting without panic. Water, you realize, is remarkably adaptable when given patience. You find reassurance in that thought. Your mind drifts to the idea of comfort beyond Earth. It does not feel threatening. Instead, it feels like discovering that the universe has quiet resting places scattered throughout it, like benches along a long path. You do not have to sit on them. It is enough to know they exist. The distant hum returns, softer now, blending with an imagined surf. You cannot tell if the sound belongs to space, memory, or breath. You decide it does not matter. The effect is the same. You feel held. Some stars glow cooler, some warmer, but each offers its own version of gentleness. Worlds adjust, finding rhythms that work for them. The universe, contrary to its reputation, appears to be very good at compromise. It balances forces the way the sea balances currents, letting opposing motions cancel into calm. You chuckle quietly at a passing thought. Even gravity knows when not to overdo it. The idea of a gentle zone does not promise life. It does not guarantee oceans. It simply offers opportunity. And opportunity, you are learning, is often quiet. It waits without expectation. It allows rather than demands. You appreciate this approach. It feels like an invitation rather than a test. As you continue drifting, you imagine shorelines under alien skies, warmed by unfamiliar suns. The light may be redder, dimmer, softer, but warmth is warmth. Water responds the same way, flowing, pooling, resting. The details change. The principles remain. This repetition comforts you. You feel your breathing slow further, sinking with imagined tides that rise and fall over long stretches of time. There is no hurry here. Planets take their time finding balance. Oceans take their time shaping coasts. Life, if it appears, takes its time learning how to move. You realize that slowness is not a limitation. It is a condition. The shoreline you picture now feels warm beneath your feet. The water laps gently, not demanding attention. The air carries a steady temperature that allows you to linger without discomfort. This is what the gentle zone feels like, translated into sensation. It is not dramatic. It is welcoming. Your thoughts soften, becoming less linear, more wave-like. Ideas arrive, touch, and drift away. You do not hold on to them. You trust they will return if they need to. As this chapter begins to draw to a close, you sense a subtle shift. Beneath this balance, beneath this comfort, there may be more. Some worlds hold warmth at the surface. Others protected beneath layers of ice, hiding motion under stillness. The tide of curiosity pulls back slightly, preparing to reveal what lies below. You take one last slow breath in this gentle zone, feeling gratitude for balance itself. Then you let the wave recede, carrying you toward quieter, colder shores, where ice rests above moving water, and where patience becomes something even deeper. You arrive at a colder shoreline now, guided gently from the warmth you just left. The shift is gradual, never sharp. The air cools, but it does not bite. It simply settles against you, calm and still, like night deepening rather than ending. You breathe in, feeling the coolness travel slowly, and breathe out, releasing any remaining tension. The sea before you looks different here. Its surface is quiet, almost motionless. Ice stretches across the water like a sleeping thought. At first glance, everything seems paused. The shoreline is pale, smooth, and hushed, reflecting faint light from a distant sky. Sound softens here. Even your footsteps feel imagined rather than real. You might think nothing moves in a place like this. You might think the story ends where the water freezes. But you remain. And you listen. Beneath the ice, something continues. You rest your attention gently against the surface, not pressing, not prying. The ice does not resist you. It simply exists, thick and patient, doing its quiet work. Below it, water flows, unseen but alive, moving slowly through darkness. This hidden motion feels reassuring. It suggests that stillness is not the same as emptiness. You breathe in again, matching the quiet. You breathe out, letting the ideas sink. Science joins you here with particular tenderness. It explains that some worlds were ice the way others were clouds. The frozen surface is not a failure. It is a shield. It protects what lies beneath from harsh cold and wandering impacts. Under that protection, oceans can remain liquid, warmed gently from within, circulating in slow, steady patterns. You imagine this unseen water moving the way your thoughts do just before sleep. Quiet. Continuous. Unconcerned with being noticed. The shoreline metaphor shifts inward. You are no longer standing at the edge of something visible. You are standing at the edge of trust. You trust that movement does not require light. You trust that warmth does not need to announce itself. You smile faintly at the thought. Even water enjoys privacy. On some distant worlds, ice covers everything the eye could see. No waves. No reflections. Just smooth, frozen calm. And yet, beneath that calm, oceans stretch deep and wide, shaped by slow currents and subtle warmth. These waters do not rush. They do not churn. They simply continue, carrying energy, carrying possibility. You feel comforted by this image. Life, you realize, does not always bloom in open sunlight. Sometimes it prefers shelter. Sometimes it grows best when wrapped in quiet. The soundscape here is minimal. A faint hum. A distant creak of ice shifting almost imperceptibly. You notice how your own body responds. Your breathing slows further. Your thoughts become fewer, longer, softer. The cold does not feel lonely. It feels protective. You imagine placing your hand against the ice. You do not push. You simply rest it there. The surface is firm, steady, dependable. Beneath your hand, far below, water moves, responding to forces you cannot feel directly. This layered existence feels strangely familiar. You, too, hold motion beneath calm. Science explains that warmth can come from within a world, rising slowly like breath from deep lungs. It does not blaze. It does not flicker. It persists. This internal warmth keeps water from freezing solid, allowing it to circulate in darkness. You appreciate how gentle this process feels. Nothing dramatic. Nothing rushed. You let out a slow breath you did not realize you were holding. The idea that life could exist in such hidden places no longer feels surprising. It feels appropriate. Life, like water, adapts. It finds ways to move even when surfaces harden. It waits. It uses what is available. It flows where it can. You feel reassured by this adaptability. It suggests resilience without struggle. A small, quiet humor drifts through your thoughts. If oceans had personalities, these would be the introverts. Content. Self-contained. Unbothered by attention. You smile again, softer this time. The shoreline you imagine now exists entirely beneath the surface. There is no horizon. No sky. Just layers of water and ice, stacked like slow thoughts. Light may never reach these depths, but energy does. Motion does. Time does. You breathe in. You breathe out. Time behaves differently here. Without day and night, without seasons you would recognize, change happens slowly, evenly. This slowness feels safe. It removes urgency from the equation. It allows processes to unfold without interruption. You realize how much your own body appreciates this pace. The ice above remains steady, uncracked by impatience. The water below continues its quiet circulation. Nothing demands resolution. Nothing needs to be proven tonight. As this chapter nears its end, you sense the shoreline dissolving entirely, replaced by depth. You are no longer standing at an edge. You are floating inward, following the movement beneath the stillness. The idea forms gently, without words at first, then clearer. Even silence can shelter motion. You let that thought settle fully, like snow landing without sound. The tide of curiosity pulls you onward again, this time downward, toward places where warmth, salt, and interaction shape water in new ways. The ice remains above you, calm and protective, as you drift slowly toward the deeper chemistry of hidden seas, carried by motion that never truly stops. You move deeper now, not downward in space, but inward in feeling, as if the ocean itself has invited you to follow its quieter currents. The ice above is no longer your focus. What matters now is the warmth that rises slowly from below, steady and unhurried. You breathe in, sensing it as a subtle comfort rather than heat. You breathe out, and the darkness around you feels less empty, more attentive. This part of the sea does not rush. Here, warmth does not arrive like fire. It arrives like breath. It seeps upward through water and stone, gentle and persistent, the way warmth spreads through your body when you finally relax. You imagine the seafloor beneath you, not jagged or harsh, but softly contoured, shaped over long stretches of time. From small openings, warmth escapes, not dramatically, but faithfully. Science steps beside you again, moving slowly so as not to disturb the calm. It explains that some oceans, hidden beneath ice or darkness, are warmed from below. Not by sunlight, but by internal energy that rises steadily, carrying heat and motion upward. This warmth allows water to move, to circulate, to interact. It creates spaces where stillness and activity meet. You find that comforting. The shoreline metaphor reshapes itself once more. You are no longer standing at an edge. You are suspended within the water itself, supported on all sides. The ocean holds you gently, and you trust it. Salt drifts through the water here, invisible but present, changing how everything behaves. Salt lowers resistance. It allows water to remain fluid, adaptable, responsive. You smile softly at the thought. Even oceans know the value of flexibility. Salt and heat together create a quiet conversation. Not a reaction. Not an explosion. Just interaction. Molecules drift, meet, separate, and meet again, like thoughts forming and dissolving as you grow sleepy. Nothing insists on permanence. Everything participates briefly, then moves on. You breathe in. The water around you feels warmer now, but still calm. You breathe out, and the idea of chemistry loses its sharp edges. It becomes less about formulas and more about relationships. This touches that. That changes slightly. Enough to matter. Not enough to disrupt. Life, you realize, does not require drama to begin. It may start as a pattern so subtle it barely notices itself. In these hidden seas, warmth creates gentle currents. They move slowly, carrying dissolved minerals, salt, and energy through the water. These currents do not race. They wander. Over time, wandering becomes connection. Connection becomes structure. Structure becomes habit. Habit becomes possibility. You feel reassured by how patient this all is. You imagine standing near a warm vent on the ocean floor, though standing is the wrong word. You hover. The warmth pulses faintly, like a sleeping heartbeat. Around it, water shimmers just enough to remind you that motion is happening. The surrounding darkness does not feel threatening. It feels private, like a room with the lights turned low. You notice your breathing matching the imagined pulse. In. Out. Slow. Even. Science explains, gently, that heat can drive chemistry forward without pushing it too far. It provides just enough energy for molecules to explore new arrangements. Not chaos. Not stillness. Balance. This balance feels familiar now. You have encountered it before, in gentle zones and hidden oceans. The universe seems fond of it. You allow a small, quiet smile. Balance, apparently, is a favorite theme. Salt water conducts energy differently than fresh water. It carries warmth more efficiently, spreads it more evenly. This allows larger regions of the ocean to remain active, even when the surface above is frozen solid. You like this idea. It suggests generosity. Heat does not hoard itself. It shares. You feel your shoulders sink further, as if buoyed by the thought. In these environments, chemistry does not feel aggressive. It feels conversational. One molecule drifts close to another. They exchange something small. They drift apart. Over and over. No urgency. No deadline. Just time and opportunity meeting again and again. You reflect that this is how learning works, too. Gentle repetition. Slow accumulation. Nothing forced. A tiny moment of humor drifts through your mind. If molecules could yawn, this is where they would do it. Unhurried. Comfortable. Content to be where they are. You chuckle silently, careful not to disturb the calm. The shoreline, now fully internal, becomes a boundary between potential and expression. Below it, energy rises. Above it, water carries that energy outward. Somewhere in between, patterns form. These patterns are not alive yet, but they are not random either. They repeat. They persist. They remember. You let that word settle. Remember. Chemistry, you realize, is the universe's way of practicing memory. You breathe in slowly, feeling the idea expand. You breathe out, letting it soften. In these deep oceans, life would not need eyes or colors or sound. It would need stability, movement, and time. The rest could come later, if it comes at all. There is no rush. No expectation. Just the quiet confidence that given enough calm interaction, complexity can emerge. The warmth below continues its patient rise. The salt continues its silent work. The water continues to move, barely perceptible, yet constant. This layered cooperation feels deeply soothing. It tells you that beginnings do not need to be loud to be real. You sense the tide shifting again, not away this time, but forward. The chemistry of calm has opened a door. Beyond it lies a question even softer than before. What does life truly need, and what can it do without? You take one last slow breath in this deep, warm darkness, letting the gentle currents carry you. The ocean does not hurry you. It never does. It simply moves, inviting you onward, toward a quieter understanding of life itself, as the tide rolls slowly into the next waiting thought. You find yourself resting again, not at a dramatic edge, but at a familiar shoreline that feels quieter than before. The water laps gently, as if it recognizes you now. You are no longer searching the surface or drifting through hidden depths. You are simply here, breathing, letting the ocean exist beside you without needing anything from it. In. Out. Slow. Easy. The warmth from below still lingers in your awareness, but it no longer asks for attention. It has done its work. Now comes something softer. A release. You realize that somewhere along the way, life has felt like a list. A set of requirements. A checklist that must be completed exactly right. But as you sit with the sea, that list begins to blur. The ocean does not seem impressed by rules. It moves anyway. Science joins you again, gently setting something down between you and the water. Not a formula. Not a demand. Just a question. What does life truly need, and what has it merely grown used to? You breathe in, letting the question float. You breathe out, not rushing toward an answer. Water becomes your guide here. Water does not insist on one shape. It does not demand one temperature, one location, one source of light. It adapts. It flows around obstacles. It settles into spaces that welcome it. Life, when it appears within water, often behaves the same way. You feel something in your chest soften at this realization. Life does not need perfection. It needs opportunity. You look at the shoreline again. Sand, stone, tiny shells scattered without pattern. None of it is optimized. None of it is symmetrical. And yet, it works. The shoreline holds. The water returns. The cycle continues. In distant oceans, life may never see sunlight. It may never know seasons or skies. It may never need eyes or color. It may exist as slow reactions, repeating patterns, quiet persistence. And that is enough. You smile faintly. Enough is a comforting word. Science explains, softly, that life on Earth is diverse not because conditions are ideal everywhere, but because life is flexible. It uses what is available. It lets go of what is not. This flexibility is not weakness. It is strength practiced quietly over time. You feel reassured by this. It mirrors how rest works in your own body. You do not sleep because conditions are perfect. You sleep because you allow yourself to. The shoreline metaphor becomes especially gentle here. Waves arrive differently each time. Some are small. Some barely reach the sand. None are wrong. None fail. They simply express the conditions that shape them. You breathe again, slower now. Life does not require constant energy. It does not need excitement. It needs stability. It needs time. It needs a place where change happens slowly enough to be integrated. Hidden oceans offer this. Gentle zones offer this. Warm chemistry offers this. Urgency, you realize, is optional. You let the thought wash through you like a wave that does not break. A small, almost playful thought drifts through your mind. If life had a motto, it might be something like, "We'll see how it goes." You smile quietly at that. The universe, apparently, is not in a rush either. The sea before you glows faintly, reflecting distant light. It looks calm, but you know it is never truly still. Life, too, may look simple from afar, but inside it carries motion, adjustment, learning. It tries. It rests. It tries again. You feel comforted by the absence of pressure. Science gently points out that many things once thought essential are simply familiar. Life does not always need oxygen. It does not always need light. It does not always need warmth from above. Sometimes it borrows energy from chemistry. Sometimes it borrows structure from minerals. Sometimes it borrows time. Borrowing, you realize, is a kind of trust. You breathe in. You breathe out. The shoreline feels less like a boundary now and more like a pause. A place to sit between questions. You are not being asked to define life tonight. You are being invited to relax your assumptions about it. Life feels less fragile this way. Less like a candle flickering in danger. More like water finding a path. The waves continue their gentle repetition. Each one arrives. Each one leaves. None of them worry about permanence. And yet, together, they shape coastlines. Over time, repetition becomes transformation. You notice how your own breathing mirrors this. In. Out. Small changes accumulating into rest. As this chapter settles, you sense the sea offering one final whisper. Life does not force itself into existence. It flows into it. It adapts. It waits. It does not demand certainty before beginning. You let that idea rest fully inside you. The tide shifts again, almost imperceptibly, drawing your attention outward once more. Ahead lies light, filtering through unfamiliar skies, touching distant waters in new ways. For now, you remain seated, calm and open, as the shoreline holds you gently and the next idea approaches like a soft dawn, unannounced and unhurried. You drift forward gently, leaving the quiet shoreline behind you and carrying the lessons of adaptability, patience, and calm with you. The water beneath the ice, the warmth from below, the slow chemistry, they remain with you, settling in your awareness like sediment in a still pool. You take a slow, deliberate breath, feeling your chest rise and fall. In. Out. Steady. Safe. Now, the scene shifts. Above the oceans, light begins to filter through. Not the familiar sun of your home, but alien suns, distant and varied, shining in colors your eyes have not fully seen before. Perhaps pale blue, perhaps soft amber, perhaps deep reddish gold. Each ray moves carefully, illuminating water without urgency, whispering across surfaces with gentle insistence. You notice how your body responds. Light has a rhythm here, a pace that aligns with the slow movements of water beneath ice or across open seas. It does not demand attention. It does not blind. It nourishes. You breathe in. You breathe out. This is not brightness as you know it. It is soft energy, carried in photons that travel light years, arriving with patience, with quiet purpose. Some of them touch surfaces of oceans, bending, scattering, reflecting. Others pass through atmospheres rich with clouds, thick with vapors, full of secrets. The result is subtle illumination, enough to foster movement, enough to sustain unseen processes without ever announcing itself. Science joins you softly, explaining that light interacts with water and molecules in ways that are subtle but transformative. On Earth, photosynthesis turns sunlight into energy for life. On distant worlds, the principle is the same, even if the colors are different or the pathways unfamiliar. Energy meets chemistry. Motion meets stillness. Patterns emerge quietly, hidden beneath reflections, beneath waves, beneath skies of strange hue. You imagine yourself standing on a distant shoreline, though you are still within the comforting scope of the previous waters. The sun is not the sun you know. Its light shimmers differently on the surface. Perhaps it is dimmer, or richer, or simply another flavor of gentle illumination. Yet the water responds with the same patience. Waves roll softly. Currents carry warmth. The conversation between light and life, even potential life, continues without words. You feel your breath synchronize with this rhythm. In. Out. Long, slow. Each exhale releasing tension. Each inhale inviting curiosity, gently, without force. The tide of your thoughts mirrors the tide of light across water. Reflection follows reflection. Warmth follows warmth. Motion follows motion. Some of the light penetrates clouds, bending and scattering in unpredictable arcs. This is not chaos. This is adaptation. Even light, like water, follows paths of least resistance, adjusting to the world it meets. You find comfort in this. Flexibility feels inherent to the universe, even at the scale of stars and photons. A tiny, private humor drifts through your awareness. You imagine the photons gossiping softly with each other about the oceans they touch, sharing stories of molecules met and surfaces brushed. You smile quietly, careful not to disturb the tranquility. Even cosmic humor can be subtle. Beneath the surface, water responds in kind. Currents shift ever so slightly, molecules drifting and rearranging, guided by heat, salinity, and now energy from light. The process is not rushed. There is no urgency. Just steady participation. Slowly, gradually, a network of interaction forms. Patterns arise, not obvious, not demanding, but persistent. You let this image settle. Life, if it appears here, would not need extravagance. It would not need drama. It would need opportunity, stability, and a quiet rhythm of energy. Light offers that rhythm. Heat offers it. Water provides the medium. You feel reassured. The universe does not need to shout to nurture possibility. It whispers, softly, persistently, beautifully. The shoreline you imagine here is illuminated not just by light but by patience. The waves roll with consistent calm, repeating their motions without fatigue. Currents move through the unseen depths, carrying warmth, carrying energy, carrying potential. You sense a subtle hum beneath it all, a vibration so soft that you notice it only because you have slowed down enough to hear. It resonates with your breathing, connecting inner rhythm and outer rhythm. As you linger, you begin to notice the interplay of shadow and reflection. Light glances off the water's surface, casting patterns that shift gradually, reminding you that movement exists even in the quietest moments. Reflection does not compete with presence, it complements it. Motion does not demand notice, it simply continues. You realize that light, like life, is adaptable. It bends, it scatters, it reaches where it can. And water, like you, accommodates, receives, and carries forward. Together, they form a slow conversation that unfolds over days, years, perhaps millennia, beyond human perception, yet entirely real. A soft exhale escapes you. You feel gratitude for being allowed to witness even imaginatively such patient, persistent interaction. You sense that this is what the universe does best. It offers opportunity quietly, without expectation. You breathe again, matching the rhythm of light and water, a slow tide of in and out, here and there, everywhere and nowhere. Somewhere beyond the water, the distant sun dips lower. Shadows lengthen. The reflection of alien sky shifts across the surface. Nothing demands attention. Everything continues. You are neither too near nor too far. You are exactly where you are meant to be, breathing, noticing, allowing understanding to form gradually. The horizon feels different here. The gentle zone has returned, not as warmth alone, but as an interplay of light, water, and time. You sense the promise of processes unfolding beneath, around, and beyond the visible. Patterns, if life emerges, may follow. You do not need to hurry. You only need to remain receptive. A final soft thought drifts in: light nourishes not because it forces, but because it allows. Water responds, energy flows, motion continues. This principle, repeated across worlds, whispers a subtle reassurance: the universe cultivates opportunity without imposing itself. You feel your chest expand slightly with relief, your body aligned with the rhythm around you. As the chapter begins to settle, the tide of imagination carries you slowly toward a deeper awareness. Beyond these sunlit waters lies a dimension of time, stretching like a vast, unhurried tide. Currents, chemistry, and hidden motion await your attention next. You breathe in, savoring the warmth of possibility, and exhale gently, letting yourself drift toward the ocean of time, where the longest tides roll patiently onward, unseen yet persistent. You drift forward once more, leaving behind the soft reflections of alien light and the gentle warmth of distant oceans. Time stretches around you, not as a measurement, but as a presence you can feel, deep and persistent, like a tide that moves slowly across a vast shoreline. You breathe in, noticing the depth of it. You breathe out, letting yourself sink into its rhythm. The sea behind you, hidden beneath ice or illuminated by faint suns, continues as always. Currents flow steadily. Molecules drift. Patterns emerge and dissolve. In the same way, time flows. Unseen, unhurried, continuous. You feel it moving through you, through all the worlds you have imagined, connecting warmth, water, light, and life in one slow, patient current. There is reassurance in this rhythm. You do not need to rush. You do not need to push. You are a part of it, not apart from it. In. Out. The tides of space, the tides of chemistry, the tides of possibility, they all rise and fall together. You are included. Planets, you remember, evolve slowly. They do not hurry to reach perfection. They do not race to host oceans or life. Their surfaces change imperceptibly. Layers form, erode, shift. Atmospheres thicken or thin. Oceans appear, vanish, or linger. These processes occur over spans of time so vast that a human lifetime seems instantaneous. And yet, in that vastness, there is no anxiety. There is only patient unfolding. You imagine standing on a distant shore, feeling the slow movement of tides shaped not by hours, but by centuries. Each wave carries a story. Each ripple reflects history, even if unseen. You recognize that life, if it emerges, experiences a similar cadence. It grows, adapts, and flows according to time's unhurried rules. Nothing forces acceleration. Nothing rushes change. Motion and stillness coexist comfortably. You take a slow breath, letting it carry the idea through your body. In. Out. You feel grounded in the patience of existence. There is power in this slow unfolding, power that is quiet, enduring, and invisible to hurried eyes. Science joins gently, offering perspective without urgency. It explains that planets within habitable zones maintain stability over millions of years, giving water and energy time to interact. Chemistry, motion, and warmth persist. Life, if present, benefits from this patient steadiness. The universe does not demand haste. It cultivates possibility carefully, with the same quiet persistence that moves oceans beneath ice or shapes shoreline sands. You smile faintly at the thought. Even in the vastness, processes proceed with care. There is elegance in the patience of the cosmos, a rhythm you feel mirrored in your own breathing. As you continue, the metaphor of the shoreline evolves further. The coastlines you have imagined are no longer static. They stretch across time as much as space. Waves arrive, shaped by histories you cannot witness. They recede, leaving traces. Currents shift slowly, creating patterns that emerge only over centuries or millennia. This gentle unfolding mirrors the hidden work of life, chemistry, and energy across planets. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is wasted. Everything contributes, eventually, to something larger. You breathe again, long and slow, letting your lungs fill as the ocean of time seems to expand around you. Each inhale draws in the history of worlds. Each exhale releases your worries about immediacy. You are here. You are now. And the tides of time accept you. A soft, humorous thought drifts through your mind, almost imperceptible. Even stars, after all, shine patiently, waiting for planets to form and oceans to gather. They do not complain. They do not hurry. It is an almost comic reminder that the universe operates on its own schedule, independent of desire or expectation. You chuckle quietly, a sound swallowed by the calm, unbroken space. Your awareness shifts slightly, noticing how the passage of time affects life on these distant shores. Processes that might seem fragile or improbable on short scales are robust when measured in long tides. Microbes, molecules, energy patterns, they are all given space to explore, to interact, to persist. Slowness does not hinder them. It nurtures them. It allows stability without interference. You feel this as deeply reassuring. Life, it seems, does not need haste to flourish. You imagine water beneath alien ice, moving steadily, reshaping its surroundings in imperceptible ways. Currents flow, warmth rises, chemistry interacts, all orchestrated over eons. There is no drama, no sudden change, only patient persistence. The pattern repeats across worlds, mirrored by light, heat, and gravity. The ocean of time envelopes everything, carrying possibility like a gentle, endless wave. Breathing slows further. In. Out. The rhythm of your lungs matches the rhythm of currents, of orbiting worlds, of slowly forming seas. Your awareness widens. You feel included in the universe's patience, not separate from it. It is intimate. It is quiet. It is grounding. You notice the faint hum of distant energy, the movement of masses, the pulse of heat, the whisper of light traveling across space. It is faint, yet persistent. It is a reminder that even when nothing seems to happen on human scales, change continues on scales beyond immediate perception. Nothing is lost. Nothing is ignored. Everything participates in the long tide of time. Science frames this without intensity. It does not pressure or demand. It shows how processes like planetary evolution, ocean formation, and chemical interactions provide the slow scaffolding for life. You do not need to understand the details fully. You only need to notice the rhythm. The tide is moving. Possibility is moving. You are moving along with it. A tiny, reflective humor surfaces again. You consider that patience may be the universe's quietest, most persistent law. Everything else bends to it. You smile softly, accepting that even light years of distance and eons of time are not obstacles, they are the medium through which life and motion unfold. The shoreline you imagine is now stretched along this tide. Waves have become decades, centuries, millennia, moving with unhurried consistency. Currents beneath carry energy quietly, without haste. Each interaction builds slowly, imperceptibly, yet cumulatively, creating conditions for life, reflection, and discovery. You sense that patience is not empty. It is active. It is doing. It is shaping possibilities in ways subtle but profound. You breathe in, letting this understanding settle into your chest. You breathe out, releasing any desire to accelerate or force outcomes. You are learning to move with the tide of time, not against it. Every inhalation carries the calm persistence of planetary motion. Every exhalation releases expectation and worry. You are in rhythm with the universe itself. As the chapter begins to close, you sense a gentle shift. The long tide of time begins to carry you toward the next awareness, the act of listening without touching. Just as planets evolve patiently, so too can you observe patiently. Signals travel slowly, light bends gently, currents move beneath invisible ice. You will soon practice the quiet art of perception, letting the universe speak without needing to grasp. You take one final, deep breath in this chapter, feeling the ocean of time fold around you. You exhale, letting the calm carry you forward, like a wave pulling gently toward a distant shore, preparing you for the next quiet chapter where listening becomes the bridge between curiosity and understanding. You drift slowly from the long tide of time, carrying with you the patience you have practiced, the awareness of hidden motion, and the calm certainty that processes unfold without haste. The shoreline returns, though it is now a quieter, subtler place. Waves lap gently, almost imperceptibly. Currents shift beneath the surface, slow and steady. You settle here, feeling the pulse of distant oceans and the rhythm of planets moving unseen in the void. You breathe in, noticing the rise of your chest. You breathe out, letting your awareness expand. You do not need to touch. You do not need to intervene. Observation alone offers a type of intimacy as soft as the gentle hum beneath ice-covered seas. Science joins you again, in a whisper. It does not press, does not demand. It shows, instead, that even from afar, understanding is possible. Telescopes and instruments become extensions of perception. They detect light that has traveled years, even decades, before reaching us. They measure waves, shifts, and subtle oscillations. These tools listen patiently, collecting hints without intruding. They respect the quiet rhythm of distant worlds. You notice how your own breathing mirrors this approach. In. Out. Long, steady. No rush. No urgency. Your lungs rise and fall in time with the slow, careful detection of signals from across space. Listening becomes an act of presence, a way to honor subtlety. Imagine an alien ocean far away. You cannot dip your hand into it. You cannot feel its currents. Yet instruments can reveal its existence. Slight changes in starlight. tiny wobbles in orbital paths, shifts in spectral lines. Each signal is a wave brushing ashore you cannot see, gentle, non-intrusive, revealing without touching. You sense their presence, almost like shadows on a distant waterline. You smile quietly. Even at vast distances, the universe communicates softly if you are patient enough to notice. There is no urgency in the message. No alarm. Only hints, repeated over time, like whispered secrets carried by tides. You imagine listening with your whole body. Your eyes observe subtle changes in light. Your ears, attuned not to sound but to rhythm, notice patterns in repetition. Your mind follows the gentle rise and fall of data, recognizing the ebb and flow without imposing interpretation too quickly. Understanding, you realize, is a slow tide. It arrives gradually. It does not demand acknowledgement before its time. A tiny humor drifts in. You picture the universe as a quiet host, offering tea to curious observers, never pushing, always waiting politely for attention. You chuckle softly, careful not to disturb the calm. Observation can be playful when it respects patience. Beneath the surface of distant ice, oceans continue moving. Currents shift imperceptibly. Chemistry unfolds. Heat rises. Motion persists. All of this occurs far from your reach, yet you sense it through careful observation. The act of listening becomes a meditation. You inhale, absorbing presence without interference. You exhale, releasing the need to touch or manipulate. Signals, like soft waves, arrive at instruments. Each one tells a story, though incomplete. Each wave is part of a larger narrative you cannot yet fully comprehend. You notice the repetition. You notice subtle variation. The universe speaks in patterns, not in declarations. You lean into that rhythm, matching it with your own, and feel comforted by the consistency. Science, as ever, remains gentle. It does not claim certainty. It describes possibilities. It interprets without dictating. You appreciate the humility embedded in this practice. Knowledge grows slowly, like moss across stones or like hidden currents beneath ice. It is patient. It does not demand your belief. It invites your attention. You breathe again, letting the inhale expand your awareness. You feel the faint tug of distant tides, the slow movement of planetary orbits, the faint shimmer of light years away. Even without touching, even without direct presence, you connect. Observation is participation in a subtle, respectful way. You are part of the universe's rhythm simply by noticing it. The shoreline metaphor remains, though now it is internal. You imagine standing at the edge of comprehension, where waves arrive just often enough to guide without overwhelming. You listen as currents move beneath frozen surfaces. You hear the distant, gentle sway of light across alien seas. You feel included in processes too large to touch, yet intimately connected through awareness. You smile again, softly. The act of listening becomes a form of meditation. Your heartbeat slows. Your breath deepens. Thoughts arrive, linger, drift away. Repetition offers reassurance. Patterns repeat over time, teaching patience without pressure. You recognize that observation itself is a gift, both to the universe and to yourself. A small, quiet humor flits by. You imagine alien oceans sighing softly, pleased to be noticed without intrusion. They shift gently, currents brushing their hidden shores in response to distant starlight, yet entirely unbothered by your attention. You chuckle inwardly at the subtle joy of this mutual respect. Even life, if present, thrives quietly under this gentle, patient observation. You notice that listening does not demand immediate understanding. It is enough to notice patterns, signals, and hints. The universe does not require you to draw conclusions tonight. It simply invites awareness, patience, and presence. You feel relief. You can rest in observation without the pressure of comprehension. You are permitted to simply notice. Breathing slows further. In. Out. Long. Even. You sense alignment between your inner rhythm and the rhythm of distant oceans, ice-covered worlds, and the slow journey of light. Patience is a bridge between curiosity and understanding. It allows space for discovery without strain. As the chapter nears its close, you feel the shoreline gently recede, drawing your attention toward the next horizon, imagining life itself, not as objects, but as motion, as currents, as cycles. The act of listening has prepared you. You are ready to sense possibility without needing certainty, to witness movement without needing to grasp. Your chest expands with calm anticipation. You breathe in fully, hold gently, and exhale slowly. The waves of observation pull back, leaving space for the next soft chapter. Currents continue to move beneath ice. Light continues to filter across alien skies. Possibility continues, unhurried and patient. You are present, attentive, and connected. And now, the next tide approaches, carrying the promise of life itself, flowing unseen but deeply sensed. You drift forward, leaving behind the patient art of observation. The shoreline you have walked along, both literal and metaphorical, stretches gently behind you. The waves have carried stories of hidden oceans, patient currents, light filtering through alien skies, and the slow unfolding of time. Now, your attention turns inward and outward, to the quiet possibility that life may already be moving, unseen, across distant worlds. You breathe in, allowing the slow rhythm of your chest to match the ebb and flow of imagined oceans. You breathe out, releasing expectation, concern, or hurry. In this state, curiosity is your companion, gentle and open, not seeking proof, only noticing. Life, you realize, need not be a creature with eyes, legs, or sound. It may exist simply as motion. Currents swirl beneath frozen crusts. Warmth rises through dark oceans. Energy circulates, interacting with water and chemistry in subtle patterns. The motions themselves, repetitive, persistent, delicate, may constitute life. You let that idea settle. In. Out. Slow. Easy. You imagine distant exoplanets, their seas hidden beneath ice, or shimmering under alien suns. On some, tidal rhythms mark a steady heartbeat, shaped by gravity and the slow spin of moons. On others, chemical interactions move with quiet predictability, rising and falling, repeating in cycles that span years, centuries, millennia. You recognize the pattern, persistence and flow, continuity and adaptation. Life may be woven into these motions, not as a defined form, but as the expression of energy finding a path through medium and time. A subtle warmth rises in your awareness, mirroring the warmth of hydrothermal currents you have imagined in earlier chapters. The flow of energy through matter, through water, is gentle yet persistent. It does not demand recognition. It does not require intervention. And yet, it moves. You sense a quiet beauty in this. Life, like water, knows how to move without asking permission. Your breath slows further. You allow your body to mirror the steady pulse of currents, inhaling deeply, holding briefly, exhaling slowly. In this rhythm, curiosity deepens into presence. You do not need to see life to acknowledge it. You feel its possibility as surely as you feel the rising warmth, the gentle movement of water beneath imagined ice, the quiet repetition of tides, both temporal and spatial. Science steps beside you softly. It explains that on some planets, life may already exist as cycles and flows, entirely different from the life you know. Microbes may circulate in hidden seas, chemical patterns may repeat in energy-driven loops, motion itself may persist for millions of years without recognition. Observation, patience, and imagination allow you to sense this possibility without imposing expectation. You smile faintly at the thought, life can be modest and quiet, yet fully real. The shoreline metaphor reaches completion. You are no longer just a visitor observing distant seas. You are part of their rhythm. You sense the wave beneath your feet, the pulse beneath the ice, the dance of energy across alien oceans. Life, in its simplest sense, is water knowing how to move. It is motion finding form, persistence expressing itself, energy circulating patiently and quietly. No judgment, no drama, no hurry. You breathe again, matching the flow. In. Out. Long, steady. With each exhale, thoughts soften. With each inhale, curiosity expands. You are present, attentive, immersed in the idea that life may already be active, quietly moving, persistent, and resilient. A gentle humor drifts into your awareness. You imagine the universe smiling softly at your patience, amused by your careful, contemplative exploration. Currents shift under alien ice as though aware of your attention, though nothing is changed by it. Life continues its quiet dance, unbothered, unhurried, elegant in its persistence. You chuckle softly, and the sound blends with the imagined hum of distant waters. Beneath the metaphorical ice, the motions are endless. Currents spiral. Warmth circulates. Chemical cycles repeat. Patterns emerge, sometimes disappearing, sometimes persistent. They are subtle, delicate, and fully alive in ways you cannot fully perceive. Yet the notion itself brings comfort. Even unseen, life's presence can be acknowledged through movement, through rhythm, through flow. You feel a deep reassurance, life need not be observed to exist. Presence is a gentle participation, not an imposition. You recognize the patience and persistence in energy, water, and chemistry, and you allow it to echo within yourself. You are part of the same universe, breathing with its rhythm, moving with its tides, noticing without demanding. The wave of understanding continues to roll softly. You allow your mind to expand gently. What is life but motion, persistence, interaction, and flow? You feel the elegance in its simplicity, the quiet genius in its persistence. Nothing needs to be hurried. Nothing must be seen to be real. The tide carries this idea across alien seas, beneath ice, through warm currents, across distant skies. You breathe in, letting the concept settle fully in your awareness. You breathe out, releasing any need for certainty. You are content to float in possibility, trusting that life, wherever it exists, continues quietly, persistently, patiently. You sense the harmony of it, the hidden symmetry of motion, energy, and matter, unobserved but fully engaged. Light dances faintly on imagined surfaces. Currents carry warmth and chemical interaction below. Tides pulse gently. Signals ripple across distant oceans, waves brushing unseen shores. Everything moves together in a slow, enduring rhythm. You are immersed in it, and yet separate. Connected, but not controlling. Observant, yet non-intrusive. Your presence is a quiet acknowledgement, a silent companion to the unfolding of life itself. A final, soft reflection drifts through your thoughts. Life may already swim in places you will never see, move in ways you will never measure, persist in patterns too subtle for immediate detection. And yet, it is enough to know that motion continues. Persistence continues. Possibility continues. You feel a profound sense of calm. No fear arises. No urgency intrudes. Only curiosity, presence, and gentle wonder. You let out a long, soft exhale, allowing your chest to expand with calm acceptance. You breathe in slowly, feeling the rhythms of distant oceans, hidden currents, and persistent cycles align with your own. In. Out. Steady. Easy. The shoreline metaphor rests now in completeness. You have traveled from visible waves to hidden currents, from warmth beneath ice to light across alien skies, from time stretched like a long tide to patient observation. All paths converge here. Life, if present, moves quietly, patiently, resiliently. Its expression is subtle, persistent, and full of possibility. As this chapter closes, the wave of imagination carries you forward, inviting reflection on returning. The distant oceans, the currents beneath ice, the hidden cycles of light and energy, these will remain with you, quiet and persistent. And now, the tide pulls gently toward home, toward familiar waters, toward your own shore, where the journey of calm curiosity and gentle discovery will fold back into rest, presence, and gratitude. You breathe one final time in this chapter, slow and deliberate. You exhale fully, letting the imagined currents, hidden movements, and persistent cycles carry themselves onward. The universe continues quietly. Life continues quietly. You continue quietly. And a soft wave draws you toward the next chapter, toward returning, toward grounding, toward the shore that is both distant and intimately your own. You feel the gentle pull now, drawing you back from distant horizons and hidden seas. The exoplanetary oceans, the alien light, the slow tides of time, they have left impressions within you, small ripples of wonder that settle quietly in your chest. You breathe in, slowly, letting the vastness fill your awareness. You breathe out, releasing the need to continue wandering. In. Out. Easy. Calm. Present. The shoreline of your own world approaches. Familiar, comforting, yet subtly transformed by the journey you have taken. The waves are familiar, the sand beneath your metaphorical feet soft and solid. And yet, you notice new textures, new rhythms, new colors you had never observed before. Your own earth feels more alive, more connected, as though the distant oceans have left traces of their quiet persistence within your perception. You pause, letting the air and light of your home settle around you. The breeze brushes gently across imagined skin, carrying scents you may not consciously recognize, but that feel deeply familiar. Water laps softly against the shore. The rhythm of the waves mirrors your heartbeat. In, out, long, even, steady, safe. Science, once a distant companion, now rests quietly beside you. It no longer needs to explain, to measure, to probe. Its voice has softened into gratitude. Gratitude for the patience of the universe. Gratitude for the persistence of oceans, for currents beneath ice, for alien light, for the slow unfolding of time. Gratitude for the possibility that life, in its quietest forms, continues to move, to persist, to thrive. You allow this gratitude to settle within your own awareness. You reflect on the journey you have taken, not as an observer of exotic worlds, but as a participant in a shared rhythm. Currents beneath alien ice have mirrored your own breath. Light filtering across distant oceans has reflected in your imagination. The slow tide of time has aligned with the steady flow of your own presence. You have moved, observed, noticed, and rested. And in doing so, you have returned to Earth carrying more than knowledge. You carry a quiet resonance, an expanded sense of belonging. Your breath deepens further. In, out. The inhale draws in the echoes of distant tides, the warmth of hidden currents, the gentle pulse of light and energy. The exhale releases tension, expectation, and any lingering distance. You are here. You are now. You are present. You are grounded. The shoreline feels alive in ways that feel new. The waves lap gently, but now with a richness you had not perceived before. Each ripple is a reminder of the interconnectedness of all oceans, all currents, all life. Even the tiniest wave carries echoes of faraway worlds, of slow-moving tides across unimaginable distances, of life moving quietly in places you may never see. You recognize this subtle connection and let it fill you with calm joy. Science whispers again, gently, not demanding observation or analysis, but offering recognition of patterns and possibilities. It reminds you that the universe is vast, patient, and persistent. Life need not be immediate, observable, or dramatic to exist. It is enough that it moves. It is enough that it persists. You feel a profound reassurance in this knowledge. There is no rush. There is no pressure. There is only the gentle continuity of existence. A small, quiet humor drifts into your awareness. You imagine the universe smiling softly at your return, amused at the thought of you carrying oceans within you, oceans you have never touched, oceans that exist in light, warmth, and motion. You smile in return, releasing a soft laugh into the calm air. It blends seamlessly with the gentle sound of waves, the whisper of breeze, the quiet hum of presence. Joy, you notice, can be subtle, unhurried, and deeply grounding. You walk along the shoreline, not in haste, not in search, but simply noticing. The sand supports you, the water greets you, and the horizon stretches expansively, both familiar and new. Your senses are attuned to subtleties, the glint of light on small ripples, the warmth of sun or shade, the whisper of air and water in contact. Each sensation grounds you, reconnects you with your own world, and integrates the lessons carried from distant oceans. In your awareness, you feel the accumulated calm of every chapter you have traveled. The warmth beneath ice, the patient chemistry, the subtle filtering of alien light, the rhythm of time, and the quiet art of listening all converge here. They become part of you, a reservoir of presence that will remain accessible long after this imaginative journey ends. You are enriched, expanded, and comforted. Your breath continues to anchor you. Inhale, drawing in presence, calm, and understanding. Exhale, releasing tension, fatigue, and distraction. You notice how naturally your body aligns with the rhythm of the waves. You notice the gentle hum of life, quiet and persistent, around you. You notice that you, too, are a part of this rhythm, connected to currents, tides, and cycles far beyond immediate perception. A soft metaphor emerges. The shoreline is not merely a boundary. It is a bridge. Between past and present, between distant worlds and home, between observation and presence. It carries the memory of the journey, the lessons of patience, and the gentle awareness of life moving quietly beneath surfaces. You walk along it with gratitude, knowing that every step is both a return and an arrival. You reflect, without effort, that the universe is generous in its persistence. Oceans, currents, light, chemistry, time, and possibility, they all continue, whether noticed or not. Life, even in its quietest forms, continues. You are included in this continuity. You are not separate. You are not apart. You are part of a living ocean of worlds, connected through presence, breath, and attention. A gentle wave brushes against your feet, soft and steady. You inhale, feeling the motion resonate in your chest. You exhale, letting the sensation spread through your body. You feel the quiet truth settle. You are already a part of this rhythm. You have always been a part. Distance, time, and imagination have only clarified the depth of your connection. You are included, witnessed, and whole. The shoreline softens into the background of your awareness. Waves continue to roll, not for you, not because of you, but including you, gently, persistently. The universe carries on. The oceans carry on. Life carries on. And you carry with you the calm understanding that movement, presence, and continuity are all you need to exist fully, here and now. You take one final, long breath, letting it fill every part of your being. You exhale, releasing all expectation, all desire to control, all need to rush. You are grounded. You are present. You are safe. You are connected. You are part of an enduring, gentle ocean of worlds, quietly alive, endlessly patient, and deeply resonant. The tide rests. The waves pause, carrying only quiet memory. You stand, or float, or simply exist, whatever feels natural, anchored in the profound, calm truth that the journey, though imaginative, has left a real mark. Within you, the motion of distant oceans persists. The rhythm of alien light echoes in your awareness. The patient tides of time continue to flow. You are home, and yet, you are always part of the larger ocean. You breathe once more, fully and slowly. In. Out. In. Out. Your body, mind, and imagination are aligned with the quiet continuity of the universe. The shoreline, the waves, the oceans, and the distant stars all remain, softly, as part of you. And you, gently, rest, complete, yet aware that possibility and life continue endlessly, quietly, and beautifully.